You probably clicked on this video because you just got in from work, tired, frustrated, and just want somebody to tell you why it is you hate your job. You already know why, but it just brings you comfort knowing you're not alone in this. Misery does love company. Well, given how you feel, I'll keep it light and try knock a laugh or two out of you. Though that being said, given the subject, I'm probably most definitely going to fail at that. If there's anything in particular you hate that I don't mention in this video, feel free to throw that bad boy in the comments and let me know. Anyway, let's talk about why we hate our jobs. Like the city of Atlantis or a man your mother won't fuck, a job is pretty hard to find. They're not in short supply, in fact there's probably about 100 going near you at any given time. But if you take that 100 and filter out jobs you're not qualified for, charity collecting, and jobs that are just straight up awful, that list will go from about 100 to 7. And even less if you look a little bit closer. If you do, you'll notice there's some deception at work. Because like YouTube and Facebook, employers employ clickbait and misleading titles to get people to apply for their shitty jobs. They use really vague terms to fool you. Door-to-door sales is titled as sales and marketing. Stock and shelves is called merchandising. A prostitute is called a pipe servicer, and so on. So to say there's loads of jobs going at any given time is like saying there's loads of women to fuck in Thailand. Technically true, but only if you're willing to swallow your pride. Swallow your pride. So you applied for a job and you get called in for an interview. Well, you'd better put on your dancing shoes because if you want that job, you gotta be a singing, tap dancing monkey for their pleasure. See, here's the thing about job interviews. You're both lying to each other. You both know you're lying to each other, but neither of you can acknowledge this. The interviewer will spend the next 20 minutes seeing how many hoops you can jump through without tripping up, asking bullshit nonsensical questions like, what can you bring to this company? And are you an honest person? Which that one I find especially hilarious. If you're an honest person, you'd answer yes, but that's also the same answer you'd give if you weren't. But the reason why these questions are, for the lack of a better word, profoundly retarded, it's because they're not there to gauge how good you'll be for said job, but more so how much shit you're willing to put up with and smile through for sake of money. You're a pimp, your pride's a whore, and the interviewer is a potential punter with a penchant for a particularly perverse prostitute. And what you're doing is negotiating. So you've landed a shitty job. Congratulations! Your life is now over. Sounds like I'm being a bit overdramatic, but I'm really not. See, there's 168 hours in a week, which sounds like a lot. But if you want 8 hours sleep a night, that number turns into 112, leaving you an average of 16 hours a day to do what you want with. Sounds great, doesn't it? But you're in my world now. You don't get 16 hours on average a day to play with because you now gotta factor in work hours, which on average is about 40 hours a week. So minus 40 from that, right? No, because it's actually closer to 50 once you factor in getting ready for work, preparing lunches and commuting to and from work. So with a bit of math, your average free time goes from 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, to 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and 16 hours on 2 days. And that's not even taking into account eating, drinking, shitting, wanking and so on. And you guys wonder why my upload schedule is reliable as a van for hire's vetting process. Though an interviewer can choose who they work with on a daily basis, you can't. So throughout your working life, you'll have to work alongside people who are, say it with me now, cunts. Yep. And there's many variants. There's the overdramatic and overinvested boss, who's in no way any bit self-aware of how much of a Kool-Aid drinking ponce he actually is, who spends his day giving you shit over the most minor of things but somehow thinks you see him as a friend outside work. There's the I'm always out sick and need cover girl, who shifts you always cover until the day you eventually get sick of it and refuse to cover anymore, which makes her angry, despite the fact she's never once ever agreed to cover any of your shifts. And then there's the annoying ones. The annoying ones that always complain about everything they have to do at work because they made some bad life decisions and they lash out at everyone else because they feel like they're better than this. Hang on a second. For me, the biggest hindrance of having a job is waking up in the morning. Who knew something so simple could have such a massive mental impact? See, I gotta work to make money to pay for bills, most of which are a direct result from having a car that I need to get to and from work. Look, that's a whole other thing, I'm getting sidetracked. Regardless, I currently need this job so I can't not go. But I also resent that work takes up a metric fuck ton, I believe is the measurement, of free time. So in an attempt to have my cake and eat it, when I get in from work in the evenings, I try to reclaim the day as mine, and proceed to stay up until ridiculous hours of the night making these videos, watching movies and playing video games, or whatever else we can do to distract ourselves from the knowledge we're all going to die. That all sounds well and good until your alarm goes off the next morning and you realise you've only slept 3.5 hours for the 4th day in a row, leaving you with eyes like somebody sprinkled salt into your contact lenses, while you try to reason and convince yourself to go to bed early tonight before making yourself a coffee so strong it could actually revive the dead. But all of that will fall on deaf ears when that evening comes around and the cycle continues on, while you continue to endure perpetual exhaustion, internal conflict and a severe panic attack every time you hear something that even vaguely resembles your alarm tone. Or maybe that's just me. By far one of the most painful things to admit defeating with a job is when you realise you've fallen into a routine of waking up, going to work, coming home, eating dinner and laying half conscious on the couch for the rest of the evening and waiting bedtime. Because you're just too mentally and or physically exhausted to attempt to do anything meaningful with the precious few hours you have left yourself. Sure, you can put those meaningful things off till your next day off work, and you do that with full intent of pursuing those things, but then you just spend your days off sleeping to be somewhat mentally prepared for your next shift, and this cycle continues and continues again. Each day you tell yourself you won't be in this job in a year. You'll be off doing something you love, something you've always dreamt of doing, and these shit days will be but a fading memory, a speck of shit on an otherwise spotless window that is your fulfilled life. But a year goes by and you're still in that shit job. Maybe a year wasn't realistic. Maybe you need to spend some evenings looking at what you want to do with your life and how to achieve these things so you'll better know how to pursue them. Yeah, that's what you should do, and you'll do it this evening, though you are quite tired and you still have to finish watching that TV series you're hooked on. Hey, no need to rush, right? You have a year to get there. You can do it tomorrow. But before you know it, you're approaching 30 and you've progressed no further in life than what you had when you were 18. The only difference now is you're getting older, and what little energy you had in your 20s is fading as fast as the realism of you achieving your dreams. But you still can't quit your job, because even though you've spent years doing this, you've saved virtually no money. Because the only thing that's kept you going over the years is spending money on things you really don't need, to buy you some morsel of happiness, however brief, to help you forget how unhappy you really are. Because you think perhaps not fulfilling your goals in life can be mended by buying a new car. So maybe you should work for a few more years, so you can save up that money and quit your job. Before you know it, you're a 50-something-year-old angry cashier that a younger you pointed and laughed at because that would never happen to you.